Hey dude, so I am recording this on Thursday, a couple days before the competition. Um, I'm undecided if I'm going to send this to you before it or not. I just don't want you to get too in your head about what's to come. I don't think you would be the type to do that anyway, but I'll decide afterwards if I'm going to send this to you. But I wrote this out and I wanted to uh, kind of go over it while, it was still kind of fresh in my head and why I could, so that way I could more easily explain some of the thought processes. So obviously, squat has kind of been our moneymaker here as far as like the progress. It's been like the most like obvious, guaranteed kind of progress stuff. So we're not going to change a whole lot with that. The main thing I'm looking at doing is I want to do top sets of four instead of top sets of three, just because it can give us something to kind of undulate between. We can like go down to top sets of three in the next block, and then depending on how it goes, maybe go between four and three like every other block for the rep top set. We'll keep that fatigue single in there. That's been working well for us, obviously. Um, and then back downs per usual. Bench press. So I think I want to keep rolling with the idea of higher intensities on this day, but we'll do doubles just so it's not as crazy, right? And plus we can build a little bit more volume with that anyway. But then we're going to be taking that, we're going to be volumizing those intensity sets. So uh, you'll see here it's like single and then two by two at seven, one by two at six, and then here everything's the same except now it's a two by two at six. So we added a set at six. Here we moved one of those sets of six to a set of seven, and then here we have a total of six sets. Top single at eight, three sets of two at seven, two sets of two at six. So it ends up being quite a bit of volume by the end of it. Um, Sumo deadlift, um, depending on how things go, this could easily change as far as the deadlift plans because you know, we briefly talked about giving it a go, and I figure why not? Let's give it a go. I'm going to estimate your sumo deadlift about 50 pounds behind your conventional. I'm just going to assume you're going to hit the 500-pound conventional deadlift, and then the sumo will take a second to kind of catch up. That's the thought process with that. Um, so basically, when it comes to our top sets on the sumo deadlift, we're just not going to push it as high by the end. That's really all I got to say. That's unique about this one. But singles, top sets, doubles, back downs, nothing crazy. So while squat, we'll push to RP eights. The sumo deadlift, we're just going to push to a 7.5. So then we get into our day two. So my options I felt for your secondary squat day were, in my opinion, either a pin squat or a SSB squat. And I don't know if Nike has the SSB. I can't remember. I asked a couple people who work at Nike. I asked Mike and Mariama. They both said, Mike said he said they used to. Mariama says it depends on which gym you go to. So um, I don't know. I basically just can't guarantee that it's going to be there. Uh, but if you are going to know you're going to have an SSB, I'll let you have that as an option. As long as we make sure we have one every single time you do this day. That way it's like consistent, right? Um, but so I put pin squats in here because I figure you can do a pin squat anywhere where there's a rack and safeties. So, and the reason for that is this is just going to help work on upper back. The SSB more specifically works on like the strength of it, but the pin squat really works on like the positioning of it. So this will just keep you kind of teach you a different way to hold tension in your upper back. As we know, that's kind of a limiting factor in your squat. Maybe not a limiting factor, but it becomes an issue at times. As far as bench on this day, that's something I should say too right now is that we're looking at 4 bench days a week. Um, uh, like I said, I'm recording this before the meet, but we hit 281, sick. It's good progress on bench, but I think it's to the point now where I want to go to 4 days a week benching and see what we can do. which we've kind of been priming anyway because we've always had dumbbell bench on this day. Um, so it's not like it's not super foreign, right? Now we're just adding some barbell bench. 4x5, we're just gonna we'll do small increases on that week to week, nothing crazy. But they are closer grip and they're all in the RPE 7 range, kind of thinking more hypertrophy related bench. Um, that's the thought process. Skull crushers because it's a hypertrophy kind of day. And then from there on, like our bench days need to kind of taper off and get easier because we're going to be starting to prep for the main day again, right? So our main bench work on the day following that is a top set of a 3 count pause, nothing crazy. And then I want to do a wide grip bench on this day, and I want max grip. I want index on the rings. So this load may need to be a little different than what we're doing than what I have written in there. Because I still do think that a wider grip is ultimately going to be better for you. I know we have reasons why we went to the closer grip, but I think if we do take it slow, where we just have one day where with 3 sets that's wide, like that's like a good introduction to wide grip, and we can slowly taper that up um, and see how it goes. Um, and you can obviously with any of this stuff, but with that wide grip bench, if you feel like there's something you find that concerning, you don't want to try it, you just want to stick to what we've been doing as far as grip wise, then obviously I trust your judgment as far as like if you think that's going to aggravate the pec again. But I do think that we just did too much too soon the first time around. So if this time we just taper up, should be okay. Um, Secondary deadlift, we're going to push these a little bit harder than we normally push our secondary deadlift, just because the sumo deadlift isn't going to be pushed as hard. So we have a little bit more room to do something here. It's still nothing crazy. 3 sets of 2 across the board. We're just going to keep them at RPE 7, all the sets. Um, Overhead press, like we talked about in the past, that's shoulder health. Keep it in there. Something overhead, dumbbell 1 arm rows, bodyweight pull-ups. By the way, I ordered these in the way that I think they are most important at the top and least important at the bottom of the day. So if you have a day where you're running into problems with time, I want you to do them in the succession, top to bottom, and then skip the ones at the bottom. And then we have our tertiary squat day and our 4th bench day. So those are both like lowest priority bench and squat. So the bench drops down to a 5-3-0, so we can limit load the most, opposed to the 3 count pause on the bench day before, right? If that makes sense. And we're doing sets of 8 because that will also limit load. The squat, the squats on this day are pretty much the same of what you're used to, a top set of 3, except we're going to keep the volume lower. Cable rows, reverse lunges. I like keeping the reverse lunges in there because they just keep you athletic, keep you moving good. And Spanish squats at the bottom because you like them, and I think they're a good thing. So that's the basic plan. Let me know if you have any thoughts or concerns. Thinking about it now, I'll probably send this to you before the meet, just because I want when you're on vacation, I don't want you to be thinking about any of this shit unless you want to. So I'll give you that option. So I don't want to drop this to you on the middle of vacation, but this will at least give you an idea. And this is like the start of the block. I'm just going to kind of hand program in on RTS just a couple of lighter days for when you return from vacation to kind of get back in the groove. Probably just some competition lift stuff just to get your body used to those movements again, assuming you're not going to have access to barbells and stuff while you're on vacation.